Hey, good morning, Team Impact. We're rolling on here today. If you were watching this video at home, I'm going to flip this over and let you take a peek at the answers to yesterday's homework one. So you can pause that video and then you can just check your work. I'm going to leave it up for a second more. But if you pause it, you should be able to see it. I don't want to waste 10 minutes here letting you look through it. But this is the answers to Monday's homework. I know it's Wednesday. So anyway, all right, let's get rolling today. We're rolling on to rates as comparisons. So we're going to be doing a lot of work, a lot of comparing unit rates. Going to be needing our calculators and so on. Let's get warmed up here, though. And actually, we already did with some unit rates. I had a nice sheet. If you were in class, boy, it was a good review. So anyway, excuse me. Let's get started. A travel agent is preparing three different car rental quotes for her customer as shown in the table below. There they are. Okay. What is the cost per day? So what I'm going to do is actually put a 1 up here. All right, because I want to keep it kind of organized and a 1. And then I will write the unit rate down here, but I just like to do it and stay organized. So to find that unit rate, I'm just going to simply turn my calculator on, and I'm going to take the total cost and divide it by the number of days. So it's $109.50 divided by 3, and it's $36.50. Okay, so that would be here, and the unit rate is $36.50. Let's do the same thing over here. Let's take $71.50 and divide that by 2, and we end up with $35.75. $35.75, and this is $35.75 again per unit. All right. Some would ask, could I take this and divide it by this? Well, sure, because all of these are equal or congruent. So let's take a look at this last one, 333, and let's just divide it by the 9, and we end up with $37. So it doesn't matter what you use as long as you're consistent using those. So the unit rate, and I showed it here for the number of days above it, just kind of keeping in the columns. I wrote it down here underneath per day. What is the cost of renting a car 10 days from Thrifty, Frugal, and Value? All right. So Thrifty. Well, if that costs 1 day, all right, well, I don't even need a calculator, right? All right, for 10 days, when I take $36.50 and I multiply it by 10, I just move that decimal point 1 to the right, and there it is for 10 days. So to get 10 days, I multiply that by 10, right? To get the frugal, I'm willing to, and I'm going to draw a line there, take $35.70 and multiply that by 10 and end up moving it over 1, $357.50. And then finally, the last one is value vehicles. And if we take 37 times 10, we end up with $370. So we just move the decimal point to the right according to the number of zeros we're multiplying it by when we multiply by a power of 10. So what is a power of 10? 10, 100, 1,000, so on. Which car rental shop is the best value for the 10-day rental? Well, that's pretty easy. So when you look at this, you just look at, hey, you know, um, when we're looking at this, we're looking for the cheapest value, right? And clearly it's frugal, right? So it's going to be frugal, Frugal. If you're frugal, you're careful with your money. Frugal. Okay, excellent. Rates can be useful in comparing different quantities so that problems can be solved. Rates can be solved by using tape diagrams or proportions, just like ratios. Okay, just like ratios. So, a couple examples of this, which really doesn't mean anything to you without seeing it, maybe is prices and speed. Okay, let's take this and apply it down here. All righty, all right. Let's blow that up. A manufacturing line can produce 15 widgets in 2 minutes. How many can it produce in 30 minutes? Okay, so let's write down what we know. Let's set up a proportion. So we have 15 widgets, 2 minutes. Uh-oh. Well, they want it in seconds. And I go, you know what? Let's figure out how many seconds is in 2 minutes. Well, if there's 60 seconds in 2 minutes, I'm going to scale that up, right? And say 15 widgets. And that's going to be what? 60 times 2 is 120 seconds. Does that make sense what I did? Because 2 minutes equals 120. These two are equal, right? Right? And I didn't need to scale up the numerator or the top. Now, once I figure that out, all right, I want to know, all right, what we can do in 30 seconds, right? Now I've got apples to apples. Okay, so let's grab our calculator and let's go. 120 and divide that by 30. And what do you get? You get 4. So that means 120 divided by 4 is 30. And 15 divided by 4, well, let's see what it is, right? Oh, excuse me. I've made a mistake here. I just saw it. That's not seconds, that's minutes. So I didn't need to do this. All right, let's start over here. I apologize. All right, this is 30 minutes. Boy, I made a big mistake. How do I get from there to there? I just multiplied by 15. And 15 times 15 will give us our top number, which is 225 widgets. So I apologize. Glad I caught that. Okay. All right. So again, I don't know where I got seconds from, but I saw it somewhere. So that's what happens. But I caught the mistake and it's okay. A dripping faucet leaks 10 milliliters 3 minutes. All right. How many minutes? So how many minutes? So they want to know that over here. All right. Will it take to produce 140 milliliters? How do I get from there to there? Well, it's either multiplication or division, right? So we take 140 and we're going to divide that by 10, and you're going to see that it's 14. So 10 times 14 is 140. 3 times 14 is, if you didn't know, 3 times 4 is 12. And 3 times 1 and add the 1 is 42 minutes. Okay. That was a little smoother than that. Don't let a mistake bother you. You make a mistake, you move on, you correct it. That's vital that you understand that, okay? So that's the first piece. Again, comparing rates. And again, we're going to stay on these rates for a while. Let's flip the page and get into the next one. Okay, so next up, we have more problems. Excellent. A 12-pack of orange soda is priced at $3. A 6-pack is priced at $1.675. What's the better value? Okay. So I like money on the top, right? So I'm going to put $3 on the top, right? And I'm going to put my 12 underneath. What does 1 cost? 12 divided by 12 is 1. 3 divided by 12 is 25 cents. So that's what we got. So it's 25 cents per what? Per can. And let's label that, right? Let's draw a line there. Now, over here, we can get a 6-pack for $1.75, and that will be 6. Let's see what 1 cost. 1 cost. So again, we just take the top and divide it by the bottom. And look, so we're going to get a long repeating decimal here. So I'm going to round this. Since it's money, I'm going to take it to 2 places. So I end up paying 29 cents, right, per can, right? Which is the better value? Certainly the 12-pack. By how much? 4 cents a can. Not a whole lot of money, but still significant enough to make that choice, right? All right. We're rolling on. Anna can type 123 words in 3 minutes. Caroline can type 220 words in five. Who can type the fastest? Okay. Well, 123 in three. What are they doing in one? Right? That's what we need to figure out. So let's go. 123 divided by 3 is 41. So we're typing 41 words per minute. Okay. Now Caroline's going, and I'm going to draw a line to separate it here. 220 in 5 minutes. What's Caroline doing in one? So let's take our calculator and take 220 and divide it by 5, and we get 44. 44 words per minute. So, who can type the fastest? Well, clearly it is Caroline, because by 3 words a minute. 3 words. Okay. So, making sense? Unit rate over 1 helps us out. Number 5. May read 403-page book in 13 hours. Let's write that down. Pages, 13 hours. How long will it take her to read 248? Ooh. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to leave a place for scaling. All right. And 248 pages. All right. And we're looking actually for that X. Okay. So let's take this down to a unit rate, right? And then we'll scale it back up, right? Or actually, let's see if these are compatible. I don't know. Maybe they are compatible. So a little bit of trial and error here. That's okay, right? 403 divided by 248. All right, 1.625. All right. So does that help us? Well, it could. So if I'm just going to write that down here, if I take that number, all right, 403, and I divide it by 1.625, I should get 248. So I divide this by 1.625, and I could divide this by 1.625. And that will give me the value of X. So if you understand that, that's probably the quickest way to get there. And that is 8. So the value is 8 what? 8 hours. Is there another way to do it that might be a little easier to understand? Yeah, could be. Let's take it down to a unit rate. Let's see what it's doing in 1 hour. So let's take 403 and divide that by 13. And we get 31 pages. Right? Now, how do we get from 31 to there? We just scale it up and scale it up. And this would be times 8, and that's times 8. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, and that's fine, right? We just need to understand how we're getting there. Okay? So our answer there is 8 hours. 8 hours. We have to be able to scale. So we do. During a thunderstorm, the local news reporter reports rainfall of a half an inch per hour. How much rain will fall if it continues to rain for 8 hours? Use the tape diagram below. All right. Well, you know, let's just set up a proportion here. I think that might be a little easier, right? So what's it going to do? It's going to do a half, which is 0.5, right? 1/2 equals 0.5. A half an inch per 1 hour. This is our rain, right? Don't want it in what, 1 hour? We want it in 8 hours, right? So this would be times 8. And if we take 0.5 times 8, we get 4. Oops. Excuse me, 0.5 times 8. And you'll see that it's 4, right? Half of 8 is 4. So it's 4 inches, right? It's 4 inches. A proportion, 2 equal ratios. Good stuff. Good stuff. Okay, we have 2 more, and we're going to continue. A contractor has 12 gallons of paint, of which will cover 2712 square feet. Which of the following rates best describes the relationship between the number of square feet and the number of gallons painted. All right. Well, it looks like to me these are going down to per gallon or per square foot. Now, all right, I have gallons and square feet. So I want to know how many square feet will go into 1 gallon. So what I mean is this, guys. I want to do this over 12. And what I'm looking to do is see what 1 gallon will do, right? So we're going to get the unit right there, okay? So we're going to get 2712, and we're going to divide that by 12. And we're going to get 226. So 226 square feet, and that would be like that, feet square, in 1 gallon. Which one of those reads that? Well, there's only one with 220 square feet per gallon, all right? And there it is, letter C. Unit rate is the key. Okay. All right. Excellent. We have one more. Let's take a look at number 8. And Northside High School is having a spaghetti dinner. In order to advertise, students place flyers on the neighborhood doors. Margie hands out 100 flyers for 2 hours. Jackson 18 for 15 minutes. Which equation could be used to determine if F, the number of flyers Jackson handed out, in 2 hours? Okay. Well, we've got to go back and reread the question, I think. We have information here about Marge, and then we have something about Jackson. 18 flyers in 15 minutes, right? So let's write that down. We have 18 flyers in 15 minutes. Okay. Now, which equation can be used to determine F, the number of flyers Jackson handed out in 2 hours? In 2 hours. Okay. Well, let's see here. When we look at this problem, okay, okay, sorry about that. Had to run out of the room. Anyway, I started working without turning the video back on. But anyway, I got the 2 hours. 2 hours, okay, 2 hours is 120 minutes because there's 60 minutes in an hour. So let's take 120 and divide it by 15. And we get 8. So 15 times 8 is that. 18 times 8 is what? Well, let's see. 18 times 8 is 144. Okay. So when we look at this, which equation could be used to find this out? Now, you'll notice that there's no 144, right? But we have to set this up.